What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchet REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. Super excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
Hey everyone, I'm your host Barbie. You have no idea how frustrating it is for these people to explain who and where they are from. We have reached our last country in the Caucasus region, and we're going to have a lot of fun because this place is so incredibly unknown and so incredibly interesting. Welcome to the land of wolves.
That's what they call them.
Ask a random person on the street where Georgia is on a map. 80% of them won't know, 19.3% of them will point to this, and the remaining 0.7% might get it right. For the 99.3% of you normies out there, Georgia is the northernmost Caucasus country located in this quarter slip of land nuzzled between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, below eastern Russia, with Turkey and Armenia and Azerbaijan to the south and east. Now here's where the geographical dilemma commences. Is Georgia in Europe or Asia? Some will argue that it stands east of Turkey, which is kind of seen as like the gateway to Asia, but culturally it identifies closer with Europe. Ultimately, I guess you can conclude that it's kind of like both in one. It's a bunch of white people in Asia.
Or Caucasians.
Quick side note, the origin of their name,
Caucasus.
Georgia, is kind of disputed. Some will say that it has to do with St. George, their patron saint. Others will say that it came from the Greeks and their word Georgios, which means tiller of the land, since the land was so fertile. But a lot of scholars might say it comes from the Persian word gur, or gurgan, meaning wolf, hence land of the wolves. I mean, that name does sound pretty cool. I mean, if I was a scholar, I'd probably discredit all the other claims in favor of that one. Nonetheless, Georgians call their own country Sakartvelo, or the land of the Kartvelians, which is another word for Georgians. Now, this is going to be my favorite part because you know me. Incredibly complicated administrative division time! Georgia is a candy shop loaded with territorial anomalies. First of all, if you go to Georgia and look at a map of Georgia that they have drawn out themselves, you'll get something that looks like this. A country divided into what looks like 11 regions and one city, the capital, Tbilisi. Yeah, I know, it looks like Tbilisi. It's Tbilisi. However, it's more like 10-ish regions and 2 autonomous republics, one of which cuts through parts of 4 of the regions. These republics are Abkhazia and, be careful what you call the second one, most people outside of Georgia will refer to it as South Ossetia, but in Georgian, it's called Samachablo, or the Skinbali region. In the simplest way I can put this, these regions came about through a complicated history that involved independence from the USSR, and then support from Russia after the USSR. Technically, these are, at least considered by most in the international community, autonomous breakaway regions of Georgia that kind of govern themselves, but are kind of heavily influenced by Russia as well. To this day, Russia, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and for some reason, Nauru are the only fully sovereign countries that recognize Abkhazia and South Ossetia as independent nations. Travel between these 2 breakaway states is still possible, though it's just way more difficult for Georgians to enter the regions than it is for Ossetians and Abkhazians to get into Georgia. Phew! So anyway, aside from all that, Georgia is an incredibly vivacious yet rustically refined nook hidden away in the mountains hard to get to. Like Rivendell. The country is laden with enigmatic castles and centuries-old stony fortresses and archways. Like Rivendell, as well as an abundance of monuments and statues with the curiously fascinating, curvy, wispy script written. Oh, okay, this is freaking me out. No, but seriously, Georgia is a very rock and stone type of country. They love rocks. The largest cities and airports are, of course, in the capital, Tbilisi, Kutaisi, and Batumi. Tbilisi is a bustling city with the stone and mortar Nadikara fortress looming above on a hill. Batumi, though, is kind of like the fun city on the Black Sea with a more youthful flair and bold, sharp, dynamic architecture. All adjacent to the famous Batumi stone beaches. I'm telling you.
Did not know that.
That monument that they cross.
They made that, y'all don't come at me, but they made that look like, from what I saw on my feed, that is from like Japan or something.
Yeah.
That's how they kind of advertised it when I saw it. But yeah, Georgia, let's get into Georgia. Me and C actually met a lady from Georgia, and I'm going to say the accent really gives off like it's like a hint of Russian, but not so aggressive.
Yeah,
like you can still
like
hear.
Now y'all know, listen, I don't know about dialects and accents and all that unless it's the United States, all right?
Yeah.
And I barely know that. Y'all saw that last video.
Oh,
so I'm going to say it's like Russia with like a Spanish flair.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, like her accent was, you know.
It's pretty dope.
Very distinct.
Bet y'all didn't know we knew that, huh?
Yeah.
They love stones. Some notable sites would include places like the Gori Fortress with the statues of the 8 warriors, or the Katsuki Pillar, a limestone monolith with a single church on top, only accessible by climbing. And finally, castles everywhere you go. Notable ones like Rabati, Hinkani, Aspinza, and Ninos Minda, all of which are made of, you guessed it, stones. There's more to this country than just stones, I promise. Alright, let's discuss that. Well, as you may have already figured, Georgia is quite mountainous with an expanse of incredibly diverse, conveniently located hills and valleys. The reason why it's so convenient is because the entire country is pretty much nestled between the greater and lesser Caucasus Mountains, which protects it from the blistering cold air masses that pummel southern Russia, yet it also barricades against the hot and dry streams that penetrate from the south. This means that they have overall pretty comfortable weather and just the right amount of rainfall and sunshine. The mighty Kura, or Mtkvari, is the longest river that flows upward and arches south into the areas through Tbilisi, and the highest mountain and third highest in Europe, if you consider Georgia part of Europe, Mount Sakhara, located in the north along the Caucasus. Concealed within the hills lies the Yavkheti volcanic plateau and the southern Georgia volcanic highland. These are some rather unstable geological regions that will produce hot springs, mineral water, and seismic activity. And of course, caves. So many of them here. You have the still yet to be completely explored Meluri cave in Imereti with waterfalls, the Prometheus cave that Greeks claim to be the spot where Prometheus was chained to his rock in Greek mythology. Greeks have a history of diaspora in Georgia since like the 7th century. But the most famous cave would probably be the Krubera cave found in Abkhazia. You may also want to see the Abasha waterfalls, Marvili Canyon, Crybaby Mountain because it rains there almost the entire year, the incredibly beautiful Blue Lake in Abkhazia with peacocks around it for some reason. Speaking of animals, many might say that unofficially the national animal might be the wolf. The Caucasus region has some of the highest quality of soil in the world in terms of land usage. Georgia has one of the oldest and finest winemaking traditions that go back as far as 300 BC. Otherwise, Georgia has been a hub for mineral mining and petroleum extraction. They share a pipeline that goes through Turkey into Azerbaijan. The national dish would have to be khachpuri, or unofficially referred to as Georgian pizza, a decadent soft bread baked with gooey melted cheese, sometimes served with eggs and other ingredients often baked in. They love cheese.
I just need the yolk to be a little cooked in the...
Yeah. I don't know about
I feel
the
like
egg,
I'll eat like...
good.
I just don't like running eggs. I can't eat the running, but running egg pizza?
No, when he said the cheese, when he started showing the other ones, it looked good. I don't know about the egg.
Running
but
egg pizza. Okay, you like your sunny side up.
Not runny.
With a pizza surrounding it?
A pizza?
Yeah, so just like how they had it.
Not
You guys got the pizza with the egg on top. Do y'all like it running or do y'all like it cooked or how y'all like it?
Yeah, let us know.
Talk to us.
Has so many different kinds, from the salty, briny sulguni to the weird, stringy tenili. They even have a dish where they put cheese inside of cheese. Basically, all you have to know is that when it comes to Georgian cooking, they love cherry plums and tarragon. That's like their go-to. All right, enough about food. Let's talk about the people that eat those foods. Now, if you thought pointing out Georgia on a map was difficult, try explaining what a Georgian person is. First of all, one broader term you could use to refer to someone who is ethnically Georgian would be Kartvelian, which encapsulates all the ethno-linguistic groups found in Georgia. If you include Abkhazia and South Ossetia, the country has about 4.8 million people and is currently attempting a population rebound after losing about 1 million people in the past 20 years due to migration. The country is made up of about 87% ethnic Georgians, or Kartvelians, 6% Azerbaijani and Azeri, 5% Armenians, and the rest are made up of other groups like Greeks, Russians, and Ossetians. They also use the Georgian lari as their currency. They use the C and F plug outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. The most distinguishable facet about Georgia, though, would have to be the Georgian language. Like Armenian, it's unlike any other in the world, standing on its own, not derived from any Indo-European or even Asiatic language branch. The language is also written in the Georgian script. Technically, they have 3 alphabets, but they only use 1. The alphabet has 33 letters, no F sound, and a ton of strange, almost impossible to pronounce letters. For example... Thank you to those geography peeps, you guys rock. Keep in mind though, there are other Kartvelian minority languages spoken in Georgia as well, such as Magrelian and Svan in the west and partially in Abkhazia, as well as Laz in the south. Abkhazia and South Ossetia each have their own distinct languages and cultures that contrast with Georgia, although Georgians like to think that Abkhazians are basically just Georgians that speak a different language. The Abkhazian people write in the Cyrillic alphabet, and the Ossetians are actually a Christian Iranian-based ethnic group that inhabited the area. Keep in mind, I said Iranian, not Persian. Not all Iranians are Persians. Just keep that in mind. Now, we don't really have time to explain the complete history, but basically, all you have to know is that in the 3rd century BC, some dude named King Parnavaz of Kartli united all the Kartvelian-speaking tribes in the Caucasus area, hence creating what was essentially the first proto-Georgian nation. From there, you had Romans, Persians, Arabs, Turks, Golden Age, where they had women under the title of king, Mongols, Ottomans, Russians, and finally back to Georgia. Done! The funny thing is, even after 2 millennia of usurping empires, Georgia still maintained and held on to their own distinct identity, refusing to completely assimilate to any outside system. Christianity is the dominant religion religion, as about 84% of the population adheres to the Eastern Orthodox faith, 10% mostly being Muslim from the Azerbaijani population, and the remainder are mostly Armenian Apostolic or Roman Catholic. Christianity is kind of like a big deal here. Georgia became one of the first countries in the world to adopt Christianity, and as tradition holds, Jesus' disciple Andrew preached the gospel into ancient Scythia, which included the regions that Georgia lies in today. Also, a lady named Saint Nino converted the entire country. Culture-wise, Georgia is kind of strange because it's not quite European and it's not quite Asian. It's its own thing. Georgian polyphonic singing is actually filed under UNESCO's Intangible Heritage List. All Georgians will tell you that Georgian traditional dance is something that they are proud of, fast, difficult, dynamic, and bold with a lot of leaping and pointing. Georgians are also known for being really into strength sports, even women. They love wrestling and weightlifting and judo. They typically compete well in these events at the Olympics. Konstantin Yamashia reaching some of the highest ranks in the world's strongest man competition. Speaking of which, the most notable Georgian in the world ever seen, although they might not be proud of it, would probably be Joseph Stalin. Although, to be fair, he did spend a lot of his time in Russia being a Russian dictator, so yeah. Hospitality is a huge deal out here. As the saying goes in Georgia, a guest is a gift from God. And granted, no matter who you are, they'll pretty much just treat you to some khachpuri. And that's kind of how they are with their diplomacy. Mostly. Russia. Let's explain. In the simplest way I can put this, Georgia is like the Christian country with the most Muslim friends. It's weird because everything is like a high school drama with their neighbors. They get along well with Azerbaijan and Turkey. Trade and travel has been open for centuries. However, the memory of the Ottoman times still lingers ever so slightly. So they keep things at a flat, platonic, cordial level. Armenia kind of like used to be their best friend, but then too many things happened and they kind of decided not to hang out as much. It first started in the 6th century with the Council of Chalcedon, in which they split over secondary Christian doctrine issues. Armenia became Apostolic Orthodox, similar to the Coptic, Syriac, Ethiopian branches, whereas Georgia stayed Eastern Orthodox like the Greeks, Serbians, and Russians, and most of the other Eastern European states. Also, keep in mind, Armenia favored Russia after all that drama with Abkhazia and South Ossetia, so that kind of split the divide a little bit more. Their best friends, though, would probably be the Ukraine and the Balkan countries like Latvia and Lithuania and Estonia, even though Estonia is kind of like too busy chatting it up with Finland. All these countries have had the same scenario of dealing with some kind of form of aggression with Russia, and in a sense, bond over the shared calamity. However, there's a strange twist, because even though you would think Georgia's worst nightmare would be Russia, they kind of secretly still kind of a little bit maybe still have a soft spot for them. Each country has family of their own residing in each side and loves to visit each other. Even though politically it looks bad, the general citizens of each country still love each other and look forward to each encounter. Isn't it funny how the general populace of a country is not always directly represented by their government? Shocking. In conclusion, Georgia is an elaborately hidden, rustic yet modernized medieval domain locked away in the secret hidden mountains, caught between two worlds that it refuses to identify with its own vibrant heritage that has stood the test of time on its own, especially that melted cheese bread part. Yeah. Stay tuned, the big guy, Germany.
Not just that, even the cheese in the cheese part. Yeah, that's some good stuff. See, hey, look, what I really do love is that he said they have great hospitality. I think that is beautiful.
Know.
You don't think so?
I say y'all know.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Y'all know how we feel about that.
Yeah, I love that. And then we met a lady again, like we mentioned, from Georgia, and she was very talkative, very loving, very open. So I can vibe with that. I can see where he's going with that conversation.
She liked to dance.
Yeah, she was jamming.
she was jamming to our music.
Facts.
Yeah, so that is a good introduction to Georgia. What should we know about Georgia? What should we cover? What would you all love people to know about your country?
That's a fact. Drop it in the comment section down below.
Yes, so we hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon. Peace.